I don't have a good drug war because it's not a good story. But what I would want, and I've said this before, and so I'm just repeating myself. I would not be putting resources toward. I would be putting resources toward people who are sick with education and treatment. I wouldn't be putting them behind bars and paying for them week after week, month after month, year after year in a prison. And I would focus my attention more on those individuals involved globally in the war on drugs because of the nexus that clearly exists between them and terrorism. And you may want to try to change things with the snap of a finger, but you're not going to, in my view. And you're not going to be able, in my view, to be able to have a successful transition to that, what you're talking about doing, in an isolated cocoon where there is an inadequate amount of education and treatment available for the massive amount of individuals that exist in the United States with an insatiable appetite for illegal drugs. It's pervasive. And if you want to work toward the goals you're talking about, I just don't understand how you can feel as though you could succeed in doing it by just changing things overnight.
We are succeeding.
Okay.
See, the thing is, it's a culture thing. I know better. I'm an activist, man. I've been doing this for a long time. It's not, like here in Arizona, it's not a snap of the finger. All of a sudden they're decriminalizing stuff. They're not, all of a sudden, boom, any and everybody can carry concealed without a permit. Heck, that started with us back in 93. The drug thing, same thing. I mean, this has been libertarian candidates and activism and people in the streets and what I was talking about with Sheriff Arpaio this morning about stuff we're doing down at his jail tomorrow. And then all of this is a cultural awareness. And the biggest thing I'm talking to Sheriff Joe, I've known him for years, and I just said, look, man, I just want to make sure, one, nobody dies. You guys don't do anything stupid because it's going to be up on, video live streaming in about 3 seconds. It's just so make sure everybody's peaceful, everybody understands what this is about is a culture change. It's a paradigm shift in the understanding of the truth. And that's what I advocate for is people just to understand the truth of things when they do. Because you and I want the same thing. I can't imagine that we want people to be, destitute, damaged, hurt, violent, going after somebody. Not that you smoke marijuana and any violence is done anywhere, but I mean, I'm going, there is, I'm a grandfather, but what if, Robert, can you at least give me this, that you believe that I believe that my family would be safer, more prosperous, we'd have a freer society by not having any drug laws?
Well, there's no doubt that that's what you believe. I'm not challenging that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you believe strongly in that regard. I know that.
So I'm looking for, the reason I have conversations with this, there's value to your experience and what you've gone through and the book that you've written and the value you have, the different industries that need your expertise in order to be, make sure they don't run afoul of having everything taken. My thing is just get the right lobbyists. But, so that's why I have you on as a service to people that need to know this kind of stuff. I'm sure it's an interesting book. And let's go ahead and give that out again. We'll make sure, we give you props here. The Infiltrator, My Secret Life Inside the Dirty Banks Behind Pablo Escobar's Medellin Cartel. Now, they can go ahead and give out the website you want them to be most familiar with.
Sure. It's the-infiltrator.com. That's the-infiltrator.com. And I'm not running for president, so I'm not putting ideas on how this problem can be resolved. My whole goal is to try to open the eyes of the people who are in this country about where the real problems are with respect to the massive amount of illegal drugs that are being moved around the world and the kind of money that it moves. What the resolution to that is, I know we have a differing opinion, but I think it's very, very important for people not to generalize, but to be able to know specifically, with specific story and accuracy, the history of what I had the opportunity to see firsthand. And to whatever regard that helps us toward a positive result, I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to put a piece of the puzzle out there for people, because most people who hear the story aren't as informed as you, and don't get it and don't understand what type of big business the illegal drug trafficking is all around the globe.
Well, they may know, because your book may be made into a movie, Banking on Terror. Tell me about that.
Banking on Terror is an article that I wrote that was published, but there is an effort afoot to develop a movie from my book. So, and hopefully it will be something that'll be seen more broadly than it is right now. It's a serious problem. I do not embrace across the board by any means the tactics that are common in the war on drugs now. I just don't go as far as you do in how I think things could be done better.
Well, you know who does? I mean, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. I have LEAP on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah. No, I ran into the guy, and actually I was doing a presentation at Cambridge University, and the heads of that organization were there observing. I've got their card, and I'm going to communicate with them. And I'm not afraid to talk to somebody, because we might have a difference of opinion, and I'm always willing to keep an open mind to hear other people's ideas, because I know that there are a lot of people out there that are smarter than me. So.
Well, these guys, many of them are in your exact position. Maybe, heck, they may even been down the street with the Pablo's wing of whatever. These are people that are narcotics officers, judges, police chiefs. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the growing, you're saying not making progress. Hell, you just look at that, So I'm going, there is a wider understanding of what's really behind this drug war. The drug war is not, do you think some congressman, politician gives a rip about some junior high kid, dying of OD on blah, blah, blah? They don't freaking care. They're out sending people to die for stupid crap all over the world. This is just a voting block thing. It's a money thing. It's a special interest thing. It has nothing to do with, freedom or really fixing our society or stopping social and economic engineering to the point that we go, oh, by the way, we're broke, okay? This country done, dollar done. So we're trying to advocate for a society that doesn't repeat this cycle, and we have a chance. We have a chance because people are now able to communicate instantaneously with each other, and not only sharing information, but sharing wealth. This Bitcoin thing that's going to change everything. You don't have to, abolish the Fed. You just have to be able to ignore them, and that's what's happening. And I'm going, so you're right. A lot of people think that you're not going to see it, happen overnight. And I'm like, nah, it always happens overnight. I mean, you may not be able to see it happen, but I'm saying, it doesn't happen all at once. I mean, you can see it happening. We see it now. You got to just flip on the news, go to Freedom's Phoenix. But one day you wake up one Monday morning and the entire world is different. Ask Greece, ask Iceland, ask Ireland, ask Europe, So I'm going, and it's coming here. And
the organization you spoke about, is that LEAP? Did you say it was LEAP?
Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was a board chair by the name of Jack Cole out of Massachusetts.
Yeah. No, I've had Jack on.
Okay.
These are, there's a Judge Gray in Southern California also that he came and spoke at our Freedom Summit last year, and he's a judge, and you're starting to find a lot of judges and so on doing this, and what happens when we have these conversations? We went through this at Arizona State University with Mark and County Attorney Montgomery, and they are just, I'm not wanting to put you in that category, but Bill, he'll get up and he'll advocate for we gotta, and he's talking to 100 blue hair Republican widowed women, and he's talking at ASU to a younger crowd that knows better. And he starts spouting off statistics and gateway drug stuff and all this other, and these kids are laughing. They don't understand how much information is out there. And the younger class, with a Facebook account in 6 months, they know more about philosophy and actual statistics and data and arrest and money spent. In 6 months, they know more than these guys have learned in their entire lifetime that they're advocating for up on the stage. And if you've had experience at different events at Columbia University with LEAP guys over there, you could probably recall the reaction from the audience. They're not for this drug war anymore, man. It's not working.
Yeah, no, I know that's their message. There's no doubt about it.
Well, it's been always a pleasure to talk to you and have this discussion because I think it's beneficial to everybody to know that, one, the book, The Infiltrator, my secret life inside the dirty banks behind Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel, which is a long title, but, you probably need it all. But the thing, how long were you inside?
I did 2 operations that total about 5 years. So I lived another life, basically, for about that length of time.
Well, I tell you what's more surprising than anything is that you would, do that and come out with the attitude that you can fix it. I mean, that's surprising right there, but to see the injustice of the people that profit the most from it and then take the money and give it to the very people that we're having a war on terror against and all this other stuff, I can see how that just frosts your chaps, man.
It sure does.
So I understand. I just want to make sure that, we kind of come, whether we think we're going the right path, or you are, or I am, or what your opinion is of what we advocate, and mine. But I think that we're looking for a peaceful, prosperous, safe future. It's just how best to do that.
I agree.
All right. Well, that's what we're looking for. It's been a pleasure, Robert Mazur, The Infiltrator. My secret life inside the dirty banks behind Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel. And it's going to be, if it's not going to be a movie soon, it's going to be a movie someday, because damn, I mean, how often does that happen? And it's the-infiltrator.com. The-infiltrator.com. Robert Mazur. Robert, thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
We'll talk to you next time here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock. Check out freedomsphoenix.com for all of the daily news. Okay, Robert. Thanks, man.
Hey, thank you. Well, I definitely am going to get in touch with the LEAP people because I really do want to try to understand what their theories are. And I've got an open mind. I just, right now, based on the information I have, I just seem to feel the way that I do. But I'll continue to look at it.
No, it's wow. You, of all people, have to know how much money is involved. And that money is going to the worst people. And a lot of it's in our own government.
Well, we should have hit on one thing, and that is that there's a passage in the book where I'm with one of the high-ranking dirty bankers, and he goes, "You know who the biggest money launderer in the United States is?" And I said no, and I thought I was going to get a big case, and he goes, "The Federal Reserve." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Think about this. The central bank in Colombia has a window. At the time they did. They had this was lawful. They had a window called the anonymous window or the secret window, and if you wanted to, you could come with as much U.S. currency as you wanted and exchange it for Colombian pesos, no questions asked. And what was happening is the central bank was then palleting and shrink-wrapping pallets full of cash and flying it into the United States. And he goes to me, "Don't you think they have enough sense to go, why are we getting hundreds of billions of dollars from Colombia?" But they never questioned it. And they're not going to question it. And they're not going to question it because it's profitable for them.
Okay, now billions in U.S. dollars or in Colombian currency?
In U.S. dollars. Oh yeah, in U.S. dollars. If you Google sinister window, Colombia, money laundering, stuff like that, you'll come up with information about it. Up until 1992 or 1993, when it just became too embarrassing.
All right, stop. We're gonna do. You guys say this on air. Hold on.